Welcome to the Movie Minutemen podcast. My name is Andrew Augustine, and with me is Wesley Spillman. Wesley, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's great to be here.
Great. It is. It's fun. We're doing this one pretty close to just at we're recording this one pretty soon after. There we go. The Incredible Hulk episode, as opposed to like a month in between, like Iron Man and the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
But we're not doing a Marvel movie. We're not. We're doing something a little different today. We're taking a break from the MCU rewatch podcast series, I guess you could call it, and we're reviewing a much different movie than a superhero movie. It's Ryan Johnson's 2019 classic whodunit, Knives Out, and let's start with the memories. Wesley, what are your memories of this movie?
Yeah, so I remember watching like the advertisements for this film like before it released. I was in 2019, let's see here. That was 3 years ago. So I was like 15.
Mhm.
So like I wasn't really kind of into this genre, of course, when I'm 15. I was
Yeah.
like, of course, in Marvel, what we were talking about, and Star Wars and all those sci-fi movies and stuff like that. So I hadn't like really gotten into this type of genre that per se, and I haven't seen a lot of mystery movies either. So but I remember just coming home one day from something, I don't know what it was, but my sister watching the movie. I didn't really sit down and watch the movie because it was like halfway through. But I remember just like seeing like one scene and I was like, what in the world is this movie? Like what what is this?
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so this was actually like my first time seeing it fully for the first time. So it was fantastic. I really liked it. So yeah.
No, that's good. That's good. Yeah. So mine are a lot different than yours. I think I want to say I went to the theater and saw this one. I want to say I did, but I remember seeing the trailers like you, and I was like, "Oh, that looks really good." So I feel like I did go to the theaters and see it. I don't remember with who. I don't remember when, but I remember. I think I went to the theaters to see this one, but I remember after seeing it, I was like, "This is so good." Like this is like I loved it. I loved it. I watched it probably 2 or 3 times before this one, and I just love it. I told you I owned it. I don't think I do because I was looking for it all over the house today before recording it so I could watch it. And so eventually I just had to rent it on YouTube. But before I rented it on YouTube, because I was going to buy it on YouTube because I like having everything digital. But
Yeah.
I went to Amazon to see if it was like cheaper on Prime, and they were selling the Blu-ray DVD digital combo for $5 on Amazon.
Whoa, why didn't you get that?
Yeah, and so I was like, well, I'm gonna buy it here and then rent it because it was like 15 on YouTube. So I was like, the $3 to rent it plus the $5, I was like $8, not counting like tax or whatever. And so I was like, well, that's cheaper than just buying it on. So I got the DVD and everything.
Yeah.
But that being said, I don't own it. I do now, technically. I don't have it in my hands right now. But anyway,
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
that to say is I have a history with this. I showed my family this movie. They really liked it. So like I don't know. I enjoy showing people movies, and this was one that I was like, everyone needs to watch this movie. It is
Yeah.
so good. It did lose a bit of it, like coming back to it, like the magic of it, but it is still a really stinking great movie. And so yeah, that's Knives
Yeah.
Out, or our memories of Knives Out. So do we want to just jump into it? Is there anything else you want to say? Like, what do you think of it? You know, the non-spoiler overall thoughts about it, and then we'll get into the deep thoughts about it at the end.
Well,
But
yeah. So I don't know. It was coming into it, I didn't know what really to expect. I knew it was a murder mystery, of course, but I didn't know how it was gonna play out. I knew like they were in this mansion
mhm,
and like I didn't know what the murder was. I didn't
yep,
know how it happened, of course. But and I knew it was like a lot of different people. I didn't even think it was a family type scenario. I thought it was just a bunch of different people.
yeah,
So it was pretty interesting. I just the family type scenario makes me love it even more because you can imagine like the different people like in your own family, like that's that person, that's that.
Hopefully none of our families are
Yeah.
murderers, but I mean,
Well, yeah.
maybe they
Not
are.
like
We don't
that.
know.
But like the like the stereotypes in a
Yes.
family.
No.
The
Yeah.
stereotypes.
Yep.
So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Which one would you be in the family? Would you be the
Um
the Chris
uh
Evans character, the
we'll get
butthole?
into that. I wouldn't say that, but we'll get into that once we get in the characters.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Like you, it's really fun. Like the family dynamic is super fun. Like it's very IMDb wants me to rate it. Okay, there you go, buddy. Okay. But like the family dynamic is great. The detective is great.
Yeah.
Like especially like him and the police officers. Like the contrast between those three guys is really funny. And yeah, like it's a stinking good movie, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. That I mean, we could end the review right there, but we're not going to. So let's get
Yeah.
into 2019's Knives Out. So, movie came out 2019, directed and written by Ryan Johnson, which the name I always thought it was Rain, like Rain Wilson from The Office, but it's
Yeah.
Ryan. And I don't, my brain sees that stuff really weirdly. The music is by Nathan Johnson, which stellar music. All three of these movies
Yeah.
we've reviewed so far, stellar soundtrack to it.
And you don't what I want to comment about that. You
Yeah,
don't like near the middle half of the movie to the end, like the music. I wasn't even like listening to the music because like it was so intense by that point. Like you were like focusing and like it was so interesting. Like I don't recall the music like halfway to the end. Like
yeah,
the first part, like I can hear the music and stuff like
yeah.
that, but like I especially the first scene, that first scene's really good.
Yes, yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, I really like the music too. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree. The cast: Daniel Craig as Benoit Blanc, Chris Evans, our Marvel tie-in, as Ransom Drysdale, Ana de Armas as Marta Cabrera, and then Jamie Lee Curtis, Michael Shannon, Don Johnson, a bunch of other people. Frank Oz is in this. Did you look at
Yeah,
the cast?
I did not know that.
I didn't know that was
Who
Frank Oz either.
who so he's Alan
He's
Stevens? Who is
he's
that?
the lawyer who reads the yeah.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah. Yep.
That's hilarious.
But overall,
Wow.
like the cast, big names, right? But it's very
Yeah.
compact. It's a compact cast. Like you have the family and not much else, right? Like you
Yeah.
have Fran, the housekeeper, you have the security guard guy, and then you have the lawyer and his little partner.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
outside the family. Oh, well, you have Marta's family, but they're like in
Yeah.
like 3 scenes maybe.
Yeah. Three scenes. Yeah.
But yeah, that's about it. Yeah, that's the cast and the crew and the everything. Like, I mean, there's producers, but we don't care
Yeah.
about the producers. So yeah, the cast, man, everyone hit. Like when we get to a favorite character, it's gonna be hard to pick. Like
Yeah, it is.
I was sitting there, I was
I
like,
have like three choices.
I know, like I'm like, okay, but that's good and that's good. And I don't know. This one may be one where we agree. I feel like this one out of all three of them. Well, no, did we both do Jensen for Iron Man? I can't remember.
yeah, we did. We did
Yeah, okay.
both.
So we did
Jensen.
agree. And then for Hulk, we disagreed. But
We disagreed, but
yeah,
that movie is just
yeah. It's Hulk. We go
Yeah.
listen to the episode if you haven't. If
Yeah,
this is your first
whatever
time, go
about
listen to
that
the
movie anymore. Yeah.
episode. Go listen. Yeah, we don't need to talk about that anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cast, man, they did a great job. I remember when the trailer came out and it was like, you know, like how they, I don't know if you remember, but they went like, it was like a bum 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 with the names popping up on the screen. I was
Yeah.
like, Oh my, oh my good. Like
There's so
they
many
just
people.
so many people, so many like super great, and they're great with what they do in the movie and everything. But
Yeah.
man, go ahead. It's your turn to
Yeah,
fawn
so
over the
like yeah,
cast.
like all the actors have like at some point they're able to steal like a scene. Like
Yeah.
each character, either it's a hilarious line or just their own point of
Yep.
view on the situation at hand. They're able to have just a crazy type answer or response to something. It's hilarious. Just like Chris Evans's character, he was kind of a standout in that type of situation near the end
Yep.
of the movie.
Yeah.
It was he was hilarious, and then of course a Daniel Craig. He was great.
Phenomenal,
Yeah,
man.
he was
Jeez.
a his performance was just a fun and odd experience, I guess.
Yeah, for
he
sure.
he definitely went for it with this role, but he was really funny in this movie and weird. But yeah,
Yep.
he's all the things you just
I
wanted him
mean,
to be, but he could pull everything together at the
yeah.
end of the day. So yeah,
And the thing is, Daniel Craig is British, right?
yeah,
And he's doing a very decent, like Kentucky accent. I think that's what that is.
yeah,
Like
that
South. It's a weird
yeah,
Southern, not super like Texan-y, but it's also like I don't know, Nashville maybe. I don't know what it is, but
yeah,
it's a funky accent and it works because you haven't heard anything like it like before. Like
yeah.
it's so crazy.
It's crazy. I
But
wonder
yeah,
how he did that. Like I don't.
I don't know. All I can do is a mimic of Daniel Craig's mimic of a Southern accent. That's all I can do.
Yeah, yeah,
But I thought it was good because he didn't just go automatically to, you know, Texas accent. You know, like that would be really
yeah,
easy to do. But he did a weird, like I don't know, like
yeah.
almost Tallahassee molassesy, like
All
talking
right.
it's like. Have you seen the Office episode where they
Yes.
do the murder mystery? It's
Yeah.
like Andy Bernard's or yeah, Andy Bernard. No, is it Michael who does the? Anyway,
Anyway, yeah, I don't
the
know.
there's been a murder in the break or something like that. Anyway, we're not talking about The Office. We're talking about
Yeah.
anyway. Christopher
Anyway,
Plummer. We forgot to mention Christopher Plummer
yeah. Yeah.
in his little role. He does really, really good.
Yes. He does a great job at
Yes,
portraying
a jerk of a
the
grandpa.
yes.
Well,
Well,
okay.
I don't know.
Well, let's talk about that real quick because okay, so we'll get into it real quick. Okay, let's start the synopsis and then we'll get to Christopher Plummer. I've got a couple
Yeah.
questions for you about that. So we
Yeah.
open up on The Mansion with a very good opening score. It's on my soundtrack playlist. If you want to go find it, Andrew Augustine on Spotify. Actually, just Andrew. I got a picture of a pixelated penguin with a hockey stick and a mullet. Anyway, it's a really good theme, and it's the outside of the mansion with the dogs running through the yard, and I think it starts with the birthday, right?
No, it does not. It
Start
does
it
not.
for me, Wesley. I forget how it starts.
So it starts with a showing kind of glimpses into the house. Well, outside the house first, and then inside the house. It's kind
Yes.
of a morning time.
Yeah.
And the maid, was it Fran?
Yes, it would have been Fran.
Okay, so Fran um is taking breakfast, I think. I'm pretty sure it
Yes.
was
Yes.
breakfast.
Yes, that's
Breakfast
right.
up to a Harlan Thrombey, who is a wealthy crime novelist.
Yes.
So he's a guy who writes books, and
Murder
so
mysteries, more importantly.
yes,
Murder mysteries. Yes.
murder mysteries, more importantly. So it's the morning right after his 85th birthday,
Yes.
and but the housekeeper Fran, she finds him dead in his study, and it just starts out with that
It
solemn note, I guess.
punches you in
Yeah,
the gut, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, and then they go down to the living room, right? And they're interviewing
yeah.
the family, right?
Whoa, yeah, but that's a lot.
Yes, no, I know. I don't know how we're gonna break that down because it's a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
So
yeah,
it's a good opening, is what it is,
yeah,
and
yeah.
it sets the stage beautifully. And then we get to the interviews
Yes.
of his daughter, and they played by Jamie Lee Curtis, her husband, played by Don Johnson. I don't remember their names. Is it like Lisa?
Um, it's so let's
Lisa's
see
is,
here.
it starts with an L. Laura?
Linda,
Linda.
Linda,
Linda, yes.
Linda. Um,
Linda and her husband, Richard.
yes. And then
And
Walt.
Walt, his son, and his wife. Well, they don't interview his wife or his son, just Walt.
No, just
And
Walt.
they interview Joni, his daughter-in-law,
Joni. Joni, his daughter-in-law.
and her daughter, what's her name? Meg.
Yes, Meg.
Meg. Yes, played by Catherine Langford. And that is how it opens.
Yes.
And we get
So
all the stories.
yes, we get all of the points of views from that night leading up to the murder. But it's
well, these interviews are taking place a week before, a week after they've buried him and everything. And this is a week ago.
So yeah, so this is a week after the murder, and it's actually the second round of interviews
Yep.
because someone mysterious, an investigator, got tagged along. He got hired
Yep. By
for the job
yep.
by somebody. Um, so the police are with this investigator. So yeah, so throughout a series of these interviews, yeah. So yeah, I
Yep.
guess.
Yeah,
So it's
we found out through it's a really cool opening. Okay. So this one's not going to be like breaking it down as much as just like talking about it. Because the opening I thought was really interesting because it gave you the different points of views from the different people
yep.
while introducing the people, their personalities, what they do, what kind of crap is going on in their lives. Like Richard, we find out is a cheater. He cheats on his wife. He's been cheating on his
Yes.
wife. The grandpa knew about that.
Yep.
What Harlan? Harlan knew about it. That's right.
Harlan. Yeah, Harlan.
Joni embezzling kind of funds from him. He's like, so he pays for her daughter's college while also paying allowance for her, but she's taking double the college tuition and
Yeah, like
pocketing
$400,000 or something. She
yeah,
stole
something crazy.
$400,000 from him, duplicating checks
Yeah.
meant for Megan, but she wanted more. She wanted money, not for
Yeah.
Megan. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, kind of crazy.
Yeah. We find out that Walt, who's in charge of the publishing company, is got fired.
Yes.
And then we also find out that Ransom and Harlan had an argument that night.
Yes.
Don't know what about.
Not yet. Yes, we don't
No,
know
we don't know
yet.
what it's about yet. And I think that's about it that we find out, right?
Yeah.
But
Yes.
it's all the different points of view because one person says that Walt and Harlan got into it. Harlan
Yeah.
says we didn't really get into it. It was just like, that or whatever. And it's just a whole bunch of like he said, she said, who said, what said, everything like that.
So yeah, while they're sitting down, I don't know what per se like what the room was called. So like they had them one by one, each person coming in and getting interviewed. But I really liked every time. So in the background, you just see this figure of a man, and
Yep.
that's the investigator,
Benoit Blanc.
Benoit
Yep.
Blanc. Yeah. So
Such a good name.
it's so I just like this was weird. So three different occasions to Linda, to Walt, and to Joni.
Mm-hmm.
He hit a piano. He was right by a piano and he
Yep.
hit a piano key.
Yep.
I just don't know what that was for. I think that was because of a lie, maybe.
It might have been for a lie, but I took it as because every time it would go off on like kind of like a trail trying to point the finger to someone else, and then he'd hit it, and then the detective, the detective would come back and be like, okay, and he'd ask more of a pointed question about them. So I was like, I thought it was kind of like, hey, let's get back on track, like here, like
okay.
I'm not gonna interrupt, but
because after the third time, like Joni kind of pointed out Benoit first, and then you see all of like the other people who are getting questioned, like who is this guy? Who is this guy? Like what is he doing here? Why is he? So yeah.
That was This opening though, like man, it's crazy. Like the fact that in like I think it was probably like 10 minutes, you can introduce so many characters, so many motives, so many points of view, and like that leaves like 2 hours pretty much of the entire movie to pan it out, spread it out, like follow these characters on their journey to figure out what it is. And it's just 10 minutes, sit down. It's a jumbled mess, really.
Yeah.
Because like you're jumping back and forth from the present to the future to the past, or not to the future, the present to the past. And
Yeah.
it's just like, what the heck is
Crazy.
going on? But
It's
like,
crazy.
you follow it for the most
Yeah,
part. I don't
you
know.
do.
How did you feel? Yeah, you felt like that?
Yeah, I was like,
Okay.
it was actually pretty easy to follow, to be honest. Like, it's like really, it's like intense, but it's like, it's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
You're wanting to know, like, okay, how, like, why did Ransom go out? And like, why did he storm out? Like, why did that happen?
Yep.
Like, you're like, okay, Joni might have done something. Like, Joni's
Yeah.
kind of dumb. And like, why would she do that? And
Yeah.
and like the like one difference I thought like in their points of views, like when Walt was talking about Ransom storming out, yeah, like they look back and then he stormed out. Like he didn't hand Granny. That's another character we didn't even mention.
Yeah.
There's an old
I mean,
Granny. Yeah, so Harlan's mom, the Harlan who died,
yep.
his mom is still alive and she's barely hanging on. And she's actually a character who is important in the later half of the movie.
Yep.
But so she's just there by the door, and it's weird because like Linda's point of view shows a Ransom giving a piece of cake
Yeah.
to Granny, but in Walt's point of view, it doesn't.
Yeah.
So it's so I love that part. I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
And did you
Yeah.
catch oh man, I don't remember what, like when Benoit gets up and he starts talking, like after Joni points him out. She's like,
Yeah.
who the heck is that guy? He gets up and I think it's, well, no, it's after like Joni does it and then Richard does it, the son-in-law. And he's like, who the heck is that guy? Not those words,
Yeah.
but who is he? And he gets up and he starts talking, monologuing. And then he asks a question and then it jumps to Walt answering it. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Does that ring bells?
Yes. Yes.
That was
crazy. I love that
Dude,
like
it's
cinematography
crazy.
there.
Yes.
It was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. And like how
It
like
was
he'll ask a question and then he'll jump between answers and then he'll ask one character question and then that character won't answer it, but the other person
yeah.
will answer it. It's like, oh my goodness, like it's a jumbled mess and but it's not a mess. It's just jumbled.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it was, oh my goodness. This opening
It was
scene,
crazy.
this opening 10, 15 minutes is so
Yeah.
good.
So okay, was there anything else we
Did they introduce Marta in this?
no. We
These
don't see well, that's right after after the questioning from all of the relatives, we get introduced to Marta. So
Okay, and then he starts asking her questions, right?
yes. But that's because yeah, so Marta is Harlan's caretaker. And so yeah, and she comes to the house. We get introduced. She's like asleep, I think, or something like that, and she wakes up in her
Yes,
apartment with her like
yeah,
mom.
that's right, because it's kind of like she's having a nightmare
Yeah,
of everything that's happened, or
yeah.
that's
So
what it
yeah,
seems.
yeah. So she's with um her mom and sister, and
Yep.
then she leaves her apartment. I don't really remember much that scene, but yeah, that's
Her
nothing.
sister's watching like a crime show or whatever, and
Yeah.
it's talking about how the man got his neck slit or whatever.
Yeah.
And then her mom yells at her to turn it off because Marta's friend just died and whatever. But yeah. And then she leaves to
funny,
go.
actually. I don't remember that.
Did you not catch that?
No.
This was yeah. It was pretty, it was rough. But and funny. But if anyway. And then she leaves to go because the cops want to question her again or whatever. And so she gets there and then she sees Benoit and the other two detectives whose names escape me talking on the porch, and then she comes out and they start questioning her. And we find out that she can't lie or she throws up, which I'm not sure if that's like an actual like thing that people have.
I think it is actually.
Is it?
I think
okay.
it is.
I should have done a little bit of research, but I mean,
bro, I would I think I would do that.
Really?
Not like I think I don't know. I would
I
if it was
mean,
something big.
that's good. Like, just keep
If it
you
was something
hold
big
on.
like that, I think I would
Yeah.
probably do
I mean,
that.
that's fair. I mean, it's murder. But anyway, and then Benoit asks her to give her account of everything that happened in like the whatever. And those so she tells him like or she doesn't tell him what happens, but she like it we go into her brain and she runs through everything that happened. Well, really happened.
Yes.
Like so after the party, she takes Walt, not Walt, geez, Harlan
Harlan.
upstairs to take his medication, go to bed, and he says, we're going to play our nightly game of Go, which I've never played before. Have you ever
Yeah.
played Go?
I've seen that game before, but I've never played it.
Okay. I don't know, completely understand how you play it. But then she's beating him, and so he pretends to like have an earthquake or whatever and throws the board off the table. She calls him a sore loser and she picks up everything, the bottles, and she starts injecting him with morphine and another thing. She accidentally switches the dosages. So she gives him 100 milligrams of the morphine. And she finds that out after she says, you want some of the good stuff or whatever, like giving him a little extra to make him high, I guess.
Yeah.
But then she finds out that she accidentally gave him 100 milligrams of the morphine, which kills you. She can't find the antidote to fix it. And all this while that she's like freaking out and everything, he's like writing down like he says that might be a good way to kill somebody or a book or whatever, which I thought was
Yeah.
hilarious because my sister's a writer and she'll do that. She'll like research and
Yeah.
everything. Like, okay, you like she has research on like where do you cut someone to like make them bleed out like super quickly or whatever. It's like if the police ever check your search history, they're gonna be like, you're a murderer.
Yeah.
But anyway, neither here nor there. And then Harlan tells her, it's okay. It's okay. Let me just die. But we need to make sure you don't get caught or whatever for involuntary manslaughter, I guess is what it technically be. And
Yes.
so they plan all this like
Elaborate plan.
go downstairs, be as loud as you can, say goodbye, draw attention to the time, and then drive off, pull off before the or after the elephant statue, but she pulls off before because she can't remember, which I thought was really tricky how they like had
Yeah.
him telling her the instructions and she's like, did she say before or after? Like it was in her brain, but it
Yeah.
really wasn't. I thought that was pretty interesting. And then he tells her pull off and then come back up the trellis so people don't hear you come in and go upstairs, and then come downstairs and pretend to be me, and Walt will yell at you to go back upstairs. And so then you're gone, and my son saw me 20 minutes later, alive and well. So then you won't get caught for murder because you're already gone, is what he says. And then he tells her to go out. And so she leaves the door or goes out. I think this is it, right? And then she comes back in and she sees him slit his throat and she freaks out or whatever. And then she puts it into plan, right? Is that where we find
Yeah.
see
Well,
her?
she doesn't see him
Does she not see
dead.
him there? Okay.
Well, yeah, he does. Actually, yeah, she does, I think.
Right there?
Yeah.
Okay. I couldn't remember if it was there or
Maybe.
later.
It's not shown, but
Okay.
she like looks in the room or something. I don't even know.
Okay.
But
But yeah, and then she tells Benoit.
about the family's situations. She tells it's kind of revealed that a like Harlan told her about Walt, a I think with the lying. I mean not the lying, but him going to let go a Walt, and
And
then
Joni and Richard all
Joni
yep.
their
Yeah.
situations. So Marta tells Benoit those situations. So it kind of seems like okay, like she's in on the interrogation, and she's not. Blanc doesn't think that she's a really a good suspect as
Yeah.
of right now. So,
Yeah.
but as we see, she does vomit out of the after they interview her. So
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. So what are your thoughts about this? Like, what did you think of the whole this
Yeah,
whole thing? Like,
I thought it was crazy. That was one of my favorite scenes in the entire movie. Just like so well, Harlan's plan. I liked how it was like monologued through like her point of view doing it,
Yeah.
and not just them in the room, him telling her how to do it. Just the
And then it,
monologue
and
and
then
her doing it.
and then it would cut back to the like him telling her how to do it every now and then, and her being like, "No, I can't
Yes.
do this or whatever."
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, I just had to go ahead.
And then a funny quote that I thought it was really funny. And after she gives him the doses and stuff like that, he says, "This is an interesting, effective way of murder to murder." I just thought
Yep.
that was hilarious.
Yeah,
I
and
was
I
like,
mean,
okay,
it fits because he's a murder writer, like murder
yeah,
mystery writer.
yeah,
Like, I
yeah.
love it. I love it.
I was like, okay, and he was like so chill about it too. He was like, okay, well, this is gonna happen.
Yeah. Well, because he thought she was going to she would have like the
Yeah.
fix.
Oh yeah.
That's why I thought
Because
he was so.
she had the other thing. She was trying to find the other thing, but she
Yep.
was too
Yes.
just too flustered at that point. So yeah. I don't know. Like that was like one of my, I don't know, maybe third favorite scene in the movie. It was great. I really liked his plan for her and just how to not get spotted through the cameras and stuff.
Yeah.
It just reeled you back in from that big scene with the investigation to this scene. Like
Yep.
you're like, whoa, my gosh, like what,
Yeah.
Marta did this? Who's Marta? Like, why is she like, oh my gosh, thought it was gonna
Yeah.
be like Jimmy or something.
Yep. Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. And then we find out. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Oh man. So yeah, that is that scene. And then the next day, he tells her before she leaves that he wants her to be his like right hand man, almost like his
Yeah.
Watson, his Watson to she's Watson to his Sherlock Holmes. And they show up with the police and they search the house for the clues. They go to get the security cameras, like
Yeah.
footage, which I thought was funny where the security guard went. Yeah, back in the day, I
Yeah.
got to like walk around with my old like the gun and make sure everything. But now we got all this high tech equipment. It's like straight from the '90s or whatever. It's like,
Yeah, it's like the
I
90s.
mean, yeah, but
Yeah, yeah,
things have gotten a bit
yeah.
smaller, like thinner since then. That was a funny thing.
They
But
also searched like the premise as well too.
yep,
So
and Marta's
yeah.
able to cover up like the footprints in the mud, and she's able to like erase the VHS tape. Did you ever like watch movies on VHS tapes? Did you? Or
Yes,
is it
I did.
okay?
Yep.
Good. I was like, you are younger than me, so maybe maybe
Yes.
not much.
No, no. Back in the day,
The
had
old
a VHS
VHS, yes,
player.
sir.
Yep. Watch
Yeah,
the Star Wars movies on those.
yes, yes. That's how I watched them too for the first time.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, and then the broken trellis piece, she's able to get rid of that for now,
Yeah.
and
And then was there
footprints.
like she threw something at the
The,
was it
the the
the
broken trellis piece.
oh okay, yeah,
Dog
yeah,
came
that.
up to
Okay.
give it to her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the dogs like her. That's also another
Yes.
important bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's where everything happens, and then they go in to hear the will reading with Frank Oz,
Yes.
and it's oh first we see Ransom show up.
Well,
The dogs don't like Ransom, right? This is the right area,
wait,
right? What
wait,
happens
wait a
before?
second.
Tell me what happens before.
I'm trying to read
This
myself.
is such a confusing thing to like break
Yeah,
down. It's not like
it's
all
so
cookie cutter.
confusing. Yeah, it's not like in chronological. So,
Nope.
um, so we could just talk about that scene first.
Okay, let's talk about that.
Because
Yep.
I didn't really like that scene for some reason. I thought it was kind of dumb. Like I thought like it was kind of noticeable she was doing it like with the with
Yeah.
the trail of her covering up her foot tracks. That was kind of
Yeah.
cheesy.
I agree. I thought this one was the weakest, probably one of the weakest scenes, but it's also necessary to have this scene because, like, without it, like, I mean, it's a cheesy way to like get rid of all the evidence, but it's also necessary because then otherwise you're like, okay, well, you can see the car in the footage, you can see the footprints, you can see, the trellis piece. Like, it's all like necessary to get rid of it, but also you could have figured out a better way to do it almost, you know?
Yeah,
Is that what you, yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, you were right. The wheel reading is next.
Okay.
So, but yeah, so so a ransom shows up. That is whose son is he?
Uh
He's
Jamie Lee
Richard and
Curtis.
Linda's.
Yeah, Richard and
Yeah,
Linda's.
Richard.
Linda's, yeah.
So it's Richard and Linda's son, not song. Um, and so he was the one that stormed out of the night of the party.
And he missed
Lady
the
that he,
funeral.
yes, he also missed the funeral.
We
That's
didn't talk about.
very important to point out. Um, so he comes storming in. He doesn't care about anyone basically.
No.
He just comes in and sits down, but
Ignores the police officers.
ignores the police officers in response. CSI KFC.
That was a
that
great line.
was that was a awesome line.
Yes,
KFC.
he has some better lines coming up here that I
Yeah,
find
yeah.
so funny.
But yeah, so
And the family hates him too.
yeah,
So
the family does hate him. So
even his own
yeah,
parents is what it seems like.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
they
His
couldn't. They
own
don't stand.
parents
Can't
don't like
stand
him
him.
either.
I
Um,
saw a YouTube clip this morning, like on a like the YouTube Shorts, and
yeah,
it was like, did you know in Knives Out that so like Chris Evans wears like that fancy sweater or whatever,
yeah.
but he's got like holes in the collar. I don't know if you noticed that or not, but
I don't think so.
it's like a costume decision to show like he doesn't care about anything, even like his clothes. Like he doesn't care. I was like,
Yeah.
that's a maybe a bit of a stretch, but I thought it was pretty interesting. Like it does make sense because he doesn't care. Like he's just like been given everything for like forever. And so like even if the
Yeah.
sweater's like worth $100, $200, like you're not gonna care about it because you can get a new one.
So yeah, so before actually getting into that scene, the scene before, so where a Blanc and they were kind of having like a kind of not a house party, but that night before, after the investigations, and some of the family, I don't know if it was Richard or I think it was Walt. Walt came up to a Marta and told her that like she'll telling Marta that they'll help a Marta's family after this.
Yes. Yeah.
So they're still in good spirits and like towards her because of what she did for Harlan and stuff like that.
And you find
So
out that Fran has a secret stash of weed in the house underneath the
yes.
clock on top of a
Yes.
fireplace. Kind of important, but
yeah. Well, yeah, later
Yeah.
in the movie. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yep.
But so the wheel reading, Frank Oz's character, who I didn't know
Yep.
it was him,
Yeah, I didn't either.
he comes in with an assistant or something like that. They're all in this room, I think.
The lounge area.
The lounge area and stuff like that. And it's well, it's revealed that Marta gets basically everything.
Yep.
The inheritance, the house, the company that a Harlan has for the publishing company. So
Yep.
so that's kind of crazy, but
and
yeah,
they all turn on her really, really quickly.
Yes, they all turn on her. It's kind of insane. But
except Chris Evans. Chris Evans laughs his butt off as he walks out the door, which is interesting. But yeah. Going back to a little bit before this, where they're sitting in the lounge and Chris Evans tells, this is one of my favorite scenes where they're all arguing and he's just like,
so yeah, I forgot about
he
that
goes,
scene. Yeah.
You eat crap. You eat crap. You definitely eat crap. You eat crap. That part was in the trailers, and every time it comes on, I can't help but just crack up laughing because for me, Chris Evans will always be Captain America, right?
Yes.
And just seeing Captain America sit there and tell everyone to eat crap, just it makes me laugh so hard. It's just, but he sells it like that's like. It's not Captain America, but like the character, he plays such a like sleazy bad guy in this.
Yeah.
Or yeah. And that like just seeing him sit there and laugh while he's telling people to eat crap, and then just like taking all the yelling from his family, and he's just sitting there like
He's just nothing.
enjoying the
Yeah.
the the yeah. It's just
And
that was
he
one of
even
my favorite
laughs.
scenes.
He even laughs like when when the will reader is done reading the
Yep.
will, he's like the one laughing at everybody,
Yeah,
being
and then he
like,
walks
haha.
out. Like, I don't know if you noticed, but like they go up to Marta's face while Chris
Yeah.
Evans or Ransom
Yes.
is walking out laughing. And like his face as he turns, like he turns slightly around to like as he's walking out, and the face is just like really creepy, like almost Joker-esque, like in his
Yeah.
laughter and everything. It's like, okay, geez. But
Yeah.
they really
I
want to make you think that he's bad.
that was a hilarious scene. I really like that scene. And what I was talking about earlier, I I just could see my younger brother as being this
Oh,
Chris Evans.
dang.
I don't even know. No, just because he's kind of that he kind of has that feel of a younger
Yeah.
sibling, I guess.
Yeah, he is very
The
well.
one who just
Yeah.
causes chaos and stuff like that. So,
Yep.
yeah.
That's
So
that's funny. But yeah, oh,
I'm more of a
that scene is so fun.
I'm more of the Walt type, I think. I don't
Well,
know.
the
Yeah.
quiet,
Yeah.
reserved one. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah.
But yeah.
And then uh yeah, they're all like she starts walking out and the whole
Yeah.
family's following her. This part is really uncomfortable. It makes you feel really
Yes.
like I don't know, like I was like, oh, this is like like it's a weird feeling. I can't really phrase it, but like uncomfortable is the best way to put it. But then she's sitting in her car and the whole family's like around the car or whatever. And Walt drives up, not Walt. Oh my goodness. Ransom drives
Ransom.
up and he's like, hey, come on, like get in the car. And he's like, come on over here. And so she gets out and they drive off together. And he's like, she tells him thank you. And he goes, you're welcome. But seriously, what the heck? Like
Like, why?
that line. Oh, he has so many good lines. Like just like a lot
Yes.
of people have just those one lines that are like, oh, that's great. Like so, but they drive to a restaurant and Ransom feeds her food and he's like, okay, you're gonna tell me exactly what happens because I know that you lie when you throw up when you lie. So tell me exactly what the heck
And
happened.
she freaks out. She freaks out kind
Yes, she
of
does.
inside. Her mind blows up. She's like, wow, this is
Crap.
a crazy day.
And then they don't make you suffer through her telling the whole thing, but
Yes.
she
They
tells him
go
everything.
well, yes, but they first go back to the family.
Oh, do they? Oh yeah, and
They
they're
go
yelling
back,
at the lawyer,
yes, at at Frank Oz, and
at
then
Yoda.
the assist this yeah, at Yoda. The assistant is freaking sleeping or something, I think. I thought that was
Well,
hilarious.
yeah, because it was like 10 o'clock in the
Yeah,
morning.
10 o'clock. And then
And
it's
then
10
it's all
o'clock
of a
at
sudden
night.
like nighttime. It's like, oh my
Nighttime.
gosh, the poor lawyer. Like he's just sitting
And
there like
then
getting
yeah.
grilled.
So then the family's like, okay, we want the money back. We want everything. Like,
Yep.
we can like give a little bit to her, but like this was supposed to be ours.
We
So
deserve it. It's like,
yeah,
yeah.
we deserve this.
No, you don't. Stop.
We're descent. So so they think that Marta can still be proven as a murderer, even though like Benoit already had the investigation on her, but they didn't know that. So they think Marta could be the murderer. And by that way, they can regain their inheritance
Yep.
because I think that Joni points out the the thing she like searches up on Google or
Oh
something.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The oh, what
I
is
don't
it?
even know what it's called. I don't
Oh,
know.
I don't
Something.
remember either.
It's doesn't say on here, but
No.
yeah, so where like you could get the inheritance back if someone is proven guilty of a murder. I don't even know. But so they insist that the investigation continues and Blanc still confirms like there is foul play that and adding that everyone is a potential suspect, not just her.
Yep.
So he keeps it kind of calm there, and it kind of zooms in on him. Like everybody looks at him, and then he says those words. Yeah, because he's just in the other room sitting by a fireplace, like chilling. So, yeah. Um, yeah, so that was that scene, I guess.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah. What
Yeah.
man? This is one of my favorite scenes. We already talked about it, but yeah. Well, voice crack.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I guess
I think we already talked about it. Yeah.
yeah, we already talked. Well,
Moving
that
on.
was just a little bit on adding on to it. So yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it goes back to Marta and Ransom. And she and Marta tells Ransom everything, her side of the story, where she gave him the dose and stuff like that. Gave Harlan the dose. Um, and she receives a ransom note. Well, she goes home, I think. She goes home, and
Yep.
then
She
Marta
wakes
goes
up.
home.
Yeah. And
Yes,
then she
she
wakes
wakes
up
up next day. She receives a ransom note reading, "I know what you did." That's kind of creepy.
with
Uh,
her tag that was on the bag.
yes, yes, with her tag on the bag.
Yep.
And it was a partial photocopy of Harlan's toxology report, meaning like that's the evidence like they could get her on
Yeah.
a with the percentages of stuff like that of doses and stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep. Really
really
scary. And then
serious.
she goes to Ransom's house and shows it to him, and he's like,
Like, what do I do?
yeah. And they're like, oh, that means the only the toxicology report is, with the blood samples or whatever, and that's the only evidence you
Yeah,
have.
the only evidence
They drive there and it's been
to the
burned up.
examiners. Yeah, the
Yep.
medical. They
The
drive
the
to
ME's
the
office, yeah.
medical examiner's office, and only to find it up in flames and swarming with police. And they
Which
see
yep.
that Benoit is there with the police, and at Ransom's insistence, Marta checks her email again and finds the address and time to meet up with the person who has the toxology report.
Yep.
And Blanc spots both of them in the car, and then there's a car chase.
Yeah,
And
she
they're
peels
like,
out of there like a bat out of
yeah.
heck. Like, wow.
Yeah,
Like,
so dude, Blanc's eyes must be so keen. Like, I don't
I
even know.
know,
Like,
yeah. That was when and then he's like, like chasing after him. I was like, oh, that's a little creepy. Okay, please stop.
do you know what type of car she was driving? Like,
No, I don't.
but it was so slow.
It was,
So,
yeah. I mean,
so
it's not made for speed. It's made for
yeah, yeah.
cruisability and comfort. It looked like.
Yeah.
Oh.
So she's like going 60. The police cars are going like 80.
Yeah.
And then they all catch up to them, like, and then Benoit's like, I'm calling you. Like, why are you not answering? He like shifts over to the car right next to a their car, the car that Marta and um
Ransom.
Marta and Ransom are
Yep.
in. So that's just a hilarious scene where like
Yeah.
they're like going the same speed, and then she's freaking stops for some reason. I'm like, okay, that might work. She literally brakes, and then she goes off to the right, and then yeah. So um
I like the line during all this where Ransom goes, "Are you flooring it?" And she goes, "I am literally flooring
yeah,
it."
and it's going 60. They're going 60.
It's so funny.
That's like my little Honda Civic that I drive. I'm like,
That might be what she was driving. I don't know.
yeah. I don't know.
But yeah.
But yeah, so they're unable to escape, I guess. They go in an alleyway, and then Benoit is there and the cops, and then they arrest Ransom. And
Yep.
so a Benoit finds out Juanetta Harlan's mother, which is the granny, falsely identified Marta as him at the house. So when she did her little trickery of a getting out of the situation of the murder, I
Yep.
guess. Um so that kind of frames Ransom here. Um, so then Marta then is with Marta. Well, Benoit gets in the car with Marta, and that's kind of intense.
Yeah, after she throws up in the like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
gas station soda
She
cup.
he goes around the car, and then she like throws up the cup, and then he gets in the car, and then he was like, "Let's go to the I don't even know,
The
police
police
station or
station.
something."
Yep.
Yeah, police station. So yeah, but Marta, it's like 9:58, I think the time is,
Yeah.
and they're driving, and Marta needs, and she's supposed to meet the person with the report at 10 a.m. So a Marta then goes and drives it, asks Benoit, and he's like, okay, we can stop.
Sure.
And she goes and drives to the address, and only to find Fran there. She goes through like a hair shop or something like that,
Yeah.
and then goes in like this abandoned little
Yeah.
like room or something like that.
It was like
And
a laundromat or something.
yeah, laundromat or something. She finds Fran there, and at this point, I'm like, "Who's Fran again?" Like I forgot about Fran. I definitely forgot about Fran. I was like, "Who's
Yeah.
this?" But Fran is the housekeeper, and she's drugged, and she's drugged up, and she's like tied up to a chair and stuff, and basically hyperventilating. And then Marta performs CPR on her, and calls a police on the phone line, and then Fran goes to the hospital, and then Benoit's just listening to music in the
Yes, that
car.
was so funny. It was like singing
He's like,
along.
oh yeah, he was like, whoa, whoa, whoa,
There's an
like,
ambulance behind me. Gosh
like
dang it. What
what's
happened?
happening?
I think
What's happening?
he goes like, oh gosh, or something like that. So
Yeah, so yeah,
yep.
that I
And
just went over that, but yeah.
yeah,
um
it was pretty funny. And like I don't know, like this whole thing, like who are you expecting it to be at this point? Because like obviously
so
we don't know. It's very
yeah, we don't
misleading.
even know.
Like it it's almost like you're supposed to think it was actually Marta who killed him or whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't like when I first watched it, I didn't believe that. Like I don't know, there was just something
Yeah.
about her that you're like, no, she didn't do it. Like,
Yeah.
but like it makes you like everyone could do it, and everyone seems like the bad guy right now. But who did you think it was at this point?
So at first I thought it was Joni for some reason. She was kind of acting weird to the investigators, of course, but that's just her character.
Yeah.
She's kind of like that. But then she was kind of like, whenever she talked to Marta, she was kind of weird about it, I think. And then I thought it was Meg up until here. And like a little bit after this too, I thought it was definitely Meg for some reason
Hmm.
too. I thought Meg was the one, to be honest.
Interesting.
I don't know why, but she was kind of sus too. So
Okay.
I really thought it was her, to be honest.
Interesting. Interesting.
So,
Yeah.
and that is Joni's daughter. So
Yes. Yeah.
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I really didn't have like my first viewing, if I remember correctly. I didn't really like have a like suspicion, but like the person who had the most motive was Joni. I felt like
Yeah.
because like I don't know, like the affair didn't seem like super like oh my goodness, like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, that's
like
like
like Blanc says something about like how he owns nothing, like they signed a prenup or whatever, and like all the money is going to what's her nose anyway. So like that kind of would have played into like his motive to kill him to keep the affair a
yeah.
secret, but it didn't seem all that. So
Yeah.
like
Like she didn't like she wasn't that like bad. I guess. I don't know.
yeah, I don't know. Like I don't know. Like Ransom definitely seemed like the killer at the like like throughout it all because like he argued and everything. But then when he starts helping her, you're almost like, no, I don't think he
Yeah,
did.
yeah. See, that's the point where I'm
So
like, okay, like he's actually helping her and
they
stuff.
make him
So
sing like a butthole, but like
yeah,
he's kind of nice
he's
to
just
her.
a
So it's
guy,
kind of
I
like,
guess.
yeah. I remember being like, okay, I really like him. Like the first time I was like, yeah, he seems like a decent guy. And then when you find out at the end, he was the one who tried to kill him, like it was like, dang, like they did a really good, like he did a really good job pulling it off, being
Yes.
like the good guy.
But anyways,
Yeah.
so on the drive back to the mansion, Marta reveals everything to Blanc of her side of the story of who discourages a her from confessing to the family. So a however, Blanc tells her to stop. Oh,
Well, before
not that,
that,
not play
just
it.
a minute. Before
Yeah,
that,
yeah, not that.
they're
Sorry.
at the
Yeah.
hospital and he goes, Ransom told the cops everything. She says about the
Yes.
missed things. He says, yeah. And then she like goes through everything. She's like he told the cops everything. She's like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like he's covering his butt. Like he didn't really do it.
Yeah.
And then he goes, well, on the ride home back, we can talk about everything. And then she tells him everything.
Yeah.
It's the
And
third time I
then
think she's told the story or something like that.
yeah.
Like we found
But
that out. Yeah.
yeah, so and then like Benoit is like on her side. She's like, "Don't tell the family this." Like,
Yeah.
no way. The investigation is not over, even though you did this. Like, I really like that aspect because like he's like, okay, like she did it, but there's something else.
Yep.
There's
It
something else.
doesn't
There's
fit.
another
There's
part. It doesn't
is
fit. Like
is that where
there,
he's talking about like there's that donut hole, like
yes, donut
the
hole.
thing's a donut, but we're missing a
Well, that's
centerpiece.
at the
That's the
house.
donut
Yeah.
hole. Is that
Yeah.
okay? I couldn't
Well,
remember.
that's at the house. But
Okay.
so yeah, so then but so they get back to the mansion and the family's all there.
Yep.
And so Marta is gonna tell them everything, tell the family everything. But then Blanc steps in and he's like, no, don't do this at all. Don't
Well, because
like
they got the copy of the tox
yeah,
report in the stash.
Tox report. Yeah, in the
Yep.
stash
Yep. Where
that
Fran
Fran
hid
had
it.
hidden away.
So
And
before this, I thought like someone had set it up and Fran didn't really have the toxicology report at all. Like they just killed her. And that's what I thought at first. And then so when they pulled that out, I was like, oh dang, she really did have it. Like, how did
yeah,
that
she
happen?
did have
Like
it.
that was like, oh my gosh, how did she get it?
Like, how did she? I was like, this was so confused. I was like, whoa, she actually had one. Like, wow.
which
I didn't even
which
know.
but what's great is like it's so off the wall and so like, wow, that came out of left field. But like they tie it all together. Like there were clues throughout the movie that like, okay, that's how she did that and how that happened and everything.
And
It was
through
like,
all of this, there's something we didn't even mention. Like, not Harlan, Benoit, he didn't even know who hired him.
yeah, that's
Like,
right.
we didn't
Yeah.
even, he was hired anonymously. So, like, he didn't even know
That's
who.
why he doesn't stop investigating because he's like,
Yes, that's why he
who
doesn't stop
hired me? Like, there's
investigating.
got to
Yeah,
be
who
some
hired
reason.
me? There's something in here that needs like that. That's the yeah
Yeah, he's the guy who needs all the answers,
yeah
which pays off in the end.
yes.
Anyway,
Um
back to the room full of the family. She's getting, or no,
um
they just walked out.
yes. So yeah, so Benoit ushers Marta away and into the bigger room, the investigation room, basically. And he tells her like there's something bigger. There's more to it than we know. Donut hole inside of a donut hole. I really like that.
that
That
line,
was hilarious.
that was line was great. He's like, we
That
found out
line,
that the donut hole was actually
oh,
an actual
the whole
donut with a hole inside of it, but our donut isn't
in the
even full
middle.
yet. Yeah.
In the middle, like there's like I'm like I was so confused about that point. I was like, wait, I rewound the movie. I was like, what did he say? Like what? Like I was like, what?
Yeah, and that's what the other detective was like. What's going on?
Yeah.
And then the other
And
one
yes,
was like, "Hey, shush, quiet. Let's let him
yeah,
figure it out."
yeah. He's like, keep everyone in the house. Like Benoit's like, keep everyone in the house. Don't let anyone leave.
Yep.
So, and then he also tells him to go get somebody, and that somebody was Ransom. So
Yep.
Ransom comes in with the other detective, and then, um, in the private room, where yeah, Blanc and Marta are waiting, and Blanc reveals that he deduced the murder, and goes on to reveal on what he knows the night of the party. Ransom stormed out after discovering Marta's inheritance from Harlan and decided to frame her on the murder for the murder. Ransom swapped the contents of the medication vials and removed the emergency morphine counter agent, ensuring the morphine overdose.
Yep.
Ransom then swapped the vials back while the rest of the family was at Harlan's funeral.
Yeah.
Then Fran, the housekeeper, saw Ransom in Harlan's study that day and deduced his involvement in Harlan's death, prompting her to send him the ransom letter, which Ransom then sent to Marta, cutting out the address.
Ransom had the ransom note, which then he ransomed.
Yes.
The ransom gave the ransom note to Marta. It's like, okay, you didn't come up with a better name.
Then he burnt down the medical examiner's office to ensure that Harlan's blood work was destroyed. Then Ransom confronted Fran and drugged her with morphine. That was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Nearly killing her before destroying the original copy of the toxicology report and emailing Marta Fran's location in the hopes of fooling the police into believing that Marta had murdered Fran. Jeez. Oh my gosh.
Something we didn't talk about, though, that's kind of important is that when Ransom first shows up for the interview, or not the interview, the will reading, the detectives go, Hugh, whatever his last name is. What's his last name? Like,
Drysdale.
Whatever. Yeah, Hugh Drysdale, I assume. And he goes, call me Ransom. Only the help calls me Hugh. So his real name is Hugh. And then when Marta finds Fran in the closed down building or whatever, she goes, you did this. You did this.
You did this.
And then here in the part we're talking about, Marta figures out that she goes, wait, Fran wasn't saying you did this. She said Hugh did this.
Yes,
because only the help calls you Hugh. She wouldn't have known that his name is she wouldn't have called him Ransom because Ransom is what people call him who aren't servants, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was, man, this movie is so intricately woven together. Like, it's hard to believe that this guy who wrote this murder mystery is the same guy who wrote The Last Jedi.
Yes.
Like the fact that had the same writers, like, this is so well done and so well put together, and then The Last Jedi is a mess of a movie. Just like,
and like, it's the differences between that. Like, I even did I dislike that movie with a passion. I did a freaking a college level paper on why that movie is the worst Star Wars movie of all time. So what
was your grade on that? That's the question.
That was an A. That was an A. So
did the professor agree?
Yeah. Well, I think she's seen a few Star Wars movies, but I don't know.
Okay.
Anyway, we're not talking about Star Wars, but yes, that movie was a mess. But you can see Rian Johnson's work throughout this movie, where there's a bunch of different characters, but every character has a point
and a purpose.
And a purpose.
Unlike the Last Jedi.
Unlike the Last Jedi. But yes. So like all of the storylines had a point, like the points of views. Like, so it was just crazy how it all interweaved together and stuff like that. So
yeah.
And it made it in a way where, like, I know it's kind of confusing at the end, but you get the point. You get the answers. So,
yep. Everything has a point. Everything has like a meaning, and there's nothing that goes unused, or like, it's a masterclass. Really, is what this movie is. It's really great. But yeah, and then Blanc is, while he's talking about this, he's like messing with bottles of morphine and everything. And then he asks, he asks her to like hand me the morphine or whatever, right?
Yes.
And you see her pick up a bottle, set it back down, and pick up the other bottle and hand it to him. And he says, I covered up the labels or whatever, so there's no way you could tell that like this was the morphine. Like, how did you know that? And she just goes, I just knew. And so you find out that she really didn't overdose. Like, give him the overdose because they were switched and everything. And so she knew what she was giving him the right stuff. And so he really did just commit suicide.
Yes.
But then
Meanwhile, I'm watching this movie at 11 p.m. at night and just being so confused and like I was like, what is happening? Like what?
whoa, dude.
Like,
like you could have watched The Last Jedi and thought it was a
yeah.
masterpiece at 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
Why are we bashing The Last Jedi? Like save that for The Last Jedi
Yeah, whatever. Okay.
But then Marta gets a phone call from the hospital and she goes, "That's great news, doctor." And then she tells everyone Fran is alive. And then Ransom goes and he's like, "Oh, she's alive," or whatever. And then he admits that his crimes or whatever. And he grabs a knife, or no, Marta then vomits on him, and he goes, "Well," and he gets mad, and she's like, "She's actually dead, like, and you just admitted to murder and arson." And so he grabs, like, this whole time there's been like this giant circle of knives that everyone's been sitting down and talking, like during the interviews and interrogations, I guess is what they are. And so he grabs a knife and he
wait
lunges.
Before that, the cops were recording that script, like the audio.
Yes.
So
so they
have like kind of pull out their phone or something, and they have the confession.
So he grabs a knife and he runs at Marta. It's a slow motion, like everything. Everyone's going, whoa, everything.
They go down to the ground.
Yeah, he lands on her, and she's like, you hear a shunk, and you're like, oh shoot.
Yeah.
Like, when I saw this, I was like that took a turn that I was not.
Yeah, I was like, my eyes were up. I was like, whoa, like what?
But then you find out it's actually a prop knife, and Harlan just goes, well, crap. And then he gets arrested. You see the family out there. His dad is like chasing down the cops with, I think, money, like trying to bribe him, be like, hey, here.
Linda's just drinking a cup of coffee.
Yep. And she finds the note from her dad, which her husband like tore open earlier, and there's nothing written on the paper, but she knows that he always writes in invisible ink.
Yep.
And she heats it up and it tells him, hey, he's cheating on you or whatever.
Yep.
And then the whole family's just like, well, crap, like our lives are ruined now. And then
as Ransom was getting taken away, the remaining Thrombey family were all outside, and they see Marta up on the mansion's balcony sipping Harlan's signature coffee cup with the label "My House, My Rules, My Coffee" written on it. And the movie ends basically.
Yep. It was a great ending. And we have the end credits over. Let me get up the song. I know the song. It's by who is it by? It's a classic like country song, which was a really weird like ending. Oh, Sweet Virginia by the Rolling Stones. I guess it's not a country song, but it does sound very country, and it makes a little bit of sense, but weird. But like, Benoit Blanc is a country guy, like from the South, so it kind of makes sense. Maybe it's a Virginian accent. I don't know. Do Virginians talk like that?
I don't know.
Never been to Virginia before.
I don't think so. I don't know.
But yeah, overall, a great movie. This was Knives Out. It was a jumbled mess. We missed some stuff. I know we did. I can't think of anything, but it just makes you should watch it for yourself, basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's end with some thoughts on the movie. Wesley, what do you think about the movie overall? Now that we talked about it, spoilers, all gone. Go ahead and give us your thoughts.
So I really liked the big twist at the end. I don't know. It was kind of exaggerated, I guess, a little bit. But I did kind of like, the one word that came to mind to my mind last night when I was watching it was just awestruck. I was like, wow, like this is crazy. Like, like even though it's kind of like overdone, I guess, like it was still crazy, like how Ransom did everything. And like his point of view, we finally get to see what he does. But I really liked Marta throughout the film, and her side. She was kind of the normal person in the movie, where we just got to see the family, but her side of the view was kind of that normal person and like how that normal person would react to these situations. So I really like that. And it was overall a great film. It
Yeah.
it was just outstanding, I guess.
No, I agree. It was really nice to get to watch it again. Like this podcast is a great motivator for me to watch movies that I haven't watched in a while. This being one of them. Um, man, this is like, people are like, what are your top favorite movies? Like top 5, top 10 or whatever. And I'm like, this one's up there, like top 5, definitely, maybe top 3. I don't know, but
In my top 50, definitely.
top 50.
Yes. I
Hey,
have a top 50 list.
hey,
So
there you go. Which one did it knock out? What movie would it
well,
knock
I
out?
haven't really it's not gone to 50, but
Okay.
like
Okay.
it's in the top 50. So
Okay.
I'm making my 50 movies basically right now.
Nice,
Making
nice,
my
nice,
list.
nice.
So,
That's
yeah.
good. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but overall, man, it's a great movie. It's a great mystery. It's a classic mystery movie. Like there are mystery movies now, but this one felt like an Agatha Christie novel, like, oh. So yeah, I've fawned over at this entire podcast. Like, oh man, I can't say anything else. It's a great movie. Like Benoit Blanc is a great character. I had to write a play for a class, my theater appreciation class, and I wrote a murder mystery, and the main there was a character that I based on Benoit Blanc because he's a great character. Like Daniel
Yeah.
Craig does such a great job. Like Chris Evans is a great good guy, bad guy pretending to be a good guy who's actually like the villain of the movie. Like, and then Marta, great protagonist. Man, like Christopher Plummer in his very little moments in the movie, he is phenomenal. This was the last movie I believe he did before he died. I believe like he died before this premiered. I believe.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. But yeah, and everyone has a role to play, and they play their role to perfection. And it's one of the rare movies that there's not a lot of like, oh man, they could have done this better. They could have done this. I think it's a
Yeah.
masterclass. Like we said that earlier, and I think it is. I genuinely think it is. Like, and like when I saw Rain Johnson was doing it, I was like, oh, or not Rain, Ryan Johnson.
Ryan.
Why? Why? Anyway, Ryan Johnson was doing it. I was like, because like I just seen the Last Jedi, and I was like, oh, he ruined it. Like, but he does a phenomenal job. I think he found his niche with movies, and I'm excited. There's a new one coming out
Yes. This
December.
month.
Yeah,
This like
or is it in
yeah.
November? November,
It's
December. So
here. It's this
okay,
month. It's like the 20, like the week of Thanksgiving weekend or something.
okay,
So yeah.
great. Yeah, I'm excited for that one. They
Yeah.
got
A lot of
Benoit
good
Blanc. They got Daniel Craig to come back and
good cast. A good
good cast.
cast.
Yeah, I think Letitia Wright is in this one. I think
Catherine Hahn, who
Catherine
was
Hahn,
she's great.
Kate Hudson, and Dave
Um,
Bautista,
yeah, Dave
Drax. Yeah.
Bautista,
So
Leslie Odom Jr.
yes,
He
Leslie
was
Odom
in
Jr. Yes, which is
Hamilton.
funny because they have a Hamilton reference
Yeah.
in this one. That was funny. But yeah,
Yeah, but yeah.
ultimately a great movie. I'm glad they're doing more with Benoit Blanc. I think like it's kind of like an Agatha Christie novel with Hercule Poirot or the other characters that she has, where like you just follow the detective around and doing it. And
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm also Anyway, great movie.
Yeah,
Let's get
anyway.
to favorite character. I'll go first. It's hard. We talked
Yes.
about it at the top, and it's super hard. But overall, I've got to give it to Marta. Like Ana de Armas does a great job. She's a phenomenal actor. And she's just really endearing. Like you're voting for her the entire time while also thinking
Yeah.
maybe she actually did do this or whatever. And like when the
Yeah.
family turns on her, you're just like, oh my gosh, they're creepy, and you feel bad for her, and you're really glad that she gets what she deserves in the end, and in a good way. And I
Yeah.
think she's a very lovable and endearing character, and I think she's my favorite. So
Yeah. So there was three choices for me. At
yep.
first I was like, okay, Harlan's the best character. He was kind of that elderly guy.
Really? Really?
Yes.
Dang.
I
Okay.
loved his dialogue. His dialogue was great.
Yep.
Like in like the scene where she overdoses him, like he's just calm and like he's just like monologuing, basically just talking about murder and just these little hints in the movie, and I don't even know, it's like his dialogue
because there's that verse while he's, or not, like his line where he's messing with the dagger and he's like, people can't tell the difference between what's real and
Yes.
what's fake, which comes back in the end where he stabs her with
Yes.
the toy knife. Anyway,
Yes.
yeah,
Wow. I didn't notice that.
you didn't catch
Oh
that.
my
Okay,
gosh.
I'm glad I
Oh,
pointed it out then, because
well, because that part of the movie I didn't watch it
that's true. That's true. You watched it last
I
night.
watched it 2 days. Yeah, I
Yeah,
watched it 2 different days just
fair,
to
fair,
let you guys know. But
fair.
but yeah, so then I was like, okay, Daniel Craig, man, he was great also, top tier
Yep,
acting
yep.
with just him figuring out everything and stuff
Okay,
and
can I
him
just say something real quick about Daniel? I'm sorry, I'm interrupting, but
yeah,
his blue eyes,
yeah.
they were like, there was a scene, I don't remember where it was, but they were just like so sharp and like staring into. I was like, okay, well, good looking dude. Anyway, sorry, I'm so sorry. I'll stop talking. I'm gonna mute my mic until you're finished.
Okay. Well, then I was like, Ransom. Okay, his attitude towards the family, I really like that. That was hilarious. He was just a hilarious character. We didn't really know him at the first part of the movie, but we got to know him in the second part. And his double-sided, like double-minded, basically, of himself. Like I thought it was pretty cool to see that how like how a person can change that quickly or
Mhm.
is changed. So, yeah. But I got to say, I think Daniel Craig is my favorite character as
That's
a,
fair.
yeah.
It's
So,
Benoit Blanc.
yeah. Benoit Blanc. So, yeah.
Hey, okay. That those you, because at the beginning you said there's like three that you were choosing from. I thought you were gonna say Marta, Ransom, Benoit.
But
Not the
yeah,
out of left
I like
field. It's
Marta too.
Christopher Plummer.
Marta,
Like,
like, yeah. Yeah,
no,
I
I
know.
mean
Out of the field.
that's
Yeah.
fair. That's fair.
Harlan was great. I don't know. Like, Harlan was just great.
No, I agree. Yeah, especially when he's dying and he's like, "Well, this is a very
Yeah.
effective way to kill someone, isn't it?" It's like,
Yeah.
dude, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
Anyway, favorite quote from the movie.
Yeah.
I'll let you go first on this one.
I don't know. Let's see. Okay. Okay, this was a funny one,
Okay.
but this is the will reading. And it's a quote from Ransom. And I could have chose like a Benoit Blanc, like Benoit quote
Yep.
because he had a lot of great quotes in this movie. But right after I don't know what had happened, but he says, I think this could be the best thing that happened to all of you.
Yes, that's when he's driving off. Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
because they that's a great line. Go ahead and
Yes.
finish. I'll yeah.
Yes, but I thought it was just like just a crazy line. He's like, this family is crazy. I'm in this family, but I'm like, I disown all of you. I don't care about you anymore. Like I thought it was just funny.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's ironic because he goes, because the family goes, this might be what's best for you
Yeah.
because he, like, they
Because
say, because they ask him, did he like cut you out? And he's like, yeah,
yeah,
he did.
yeah, he
But
did.
not just me, everyone. But he didn't, like, they don't know that. So he goes, so yeah, that's a good one. I do like that one. Benoit Blanc had some great lines,
Yeah.
but I think the one I'm going to stick with is he says this to Marta near the end, and he goes, I want you to know that you didn't win the game by playing it Harlan's way, but you won it by playing your own way. You have a good heart.
Yeah.
I thought that
Yeah.
was really cool. Like,
That was a cool line.
yeah, like, I don't know. Like, I don't know why, but it's also like, I don't know. It resonated with me the most. Also, the one where he's talking about the donut hole and everything, that was pretty funny too. But
That was
I'm gonna say
hilarious.
that one.
My
Favorite
favorite part,
favorite moment. Yep. Favorite
yeah,
moment.
favorite
Yep.
part. I was gonna say Ransom's plan for at first, like his point of view at the end, but I was like, okay, that's kind of exaggerated and stuff like that. But then I think it was a Harlan's plan for Marta at near the 30-minute mark where he wants her to live, wants her to get out of there alive and stick up for her, even though she is gonna kill him, but not really. But like I just really like that how like endearing he was even to the end, his character.
Yep.
So and I thought that was just that I was so it was so intense at that moment. I was like so focused on the movie at that point. Like I was like, wow, this is crazy. So yeah, I like
Yeah.
that part.
Yeah. My favorite part. would have to be right before the will reading, where the whole family's blowing up at each
Yeah.
other and yelling at each other, and Chris Evans is just sitting there cackling like a creep. I think that one's probably the funniest because you see everyone's true characters, like all they care about
Yes.
is the
Is
money
themselves. Well, yeah.
and themselves, and they hate Ransom, and you just see like a peek into like their lives, and like you kind of feel for Ransom because you're like, well, he's a jerk, but also the family sucks. Like they're jerks back, so it's kind of like I don't blame you for not coming to the family events anymore. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
that was probably my favorite part. And then least favorite part, I think we probably have the same one.
Yeah. So Marta trying to cover up herself as they do this search around the park
Yeah.
property. That was that was just, I don't know. That was like, I think probably the weakest moment of the film, I think,
For
for
sure.
me. So yeah.
For sure. Yeah. So, with that being said, let's close up with our star reviews of Knives Out. So, let's start. Something I want to try to do a little different is let's give like a like 1 or 2 line review of the movie and then our stars, kind of like a little blurb. And then you can go
Okay.
find our actual reviews on Letterbox HD. Anyway. Little plug. So do you want me to go first for this one or do you want to go?
Yeah, you can
Okay.
go first.
So overall Knives Out is a really fun movie. I would 10 out of 10 recommend it to anybody who wants to watch who wants a good time with a movie, and yeah, a masterclass through and through. And that's my review. And then I'm going to give it a 9-star review. No, we do 5 stars, right? So
Yeah, we do 5.
what would that be? 4.5? 4.5
Yeah.
stars. I don't know why I didn't
So
stars there. 4.5 stars out of 5. Like, actually, no. You know what? I'm gonna give it 5 stars. 5 stars.
Wow.
5 stars.
Okay.
'Cause
Okay.
I'm like, if I don't give this a 5-star, what movie am I gonna give a 5
Yeah,
star?
I know.
Like this is.
So
Go ahead.
yeah. Um so okay. So for the mini review, I would probably say, well, it's a murder mystery, of course, and it's it gets you involved at the very start, and it you want to know what happens. You want to know what all the layers of of the family and so on. So it's just it keeps you involved, like I said. So yeah,
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
I don't know. So,
that's
but
good. That's good.
my star ranking, I originally thought it was a 4, but I was like,
What?
but no,
You
that was
better
before I
cook.
watched the movie. That was
Oh,
before
okay.
I watched the movie.
Okay. So
That was before I watched the
you're
movie.
rating the stars before you watch them. Like, nice.
Yes. Yeah.
Solely
So,
based on the trailer.
well, like I haven't seen this movie, but for the Marvel ones, like
Yes.
I saw them and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Fair.
But
Fair.
but I would probably agree. I For me, it's I didn't want to give it a 5. I didn't want to get it at a 5.
Perfectly fine by
So
me.
just because, like, I think a flawless movie needs to be flawless, and that one scene kind of
Fair.
did it
Fair.
for me. Even though it was not a big scene, it wasn't a
That's
big
fair.
scene. It
That's
wasn't
fair.
not like a big scene. And then the other thing was with the what I talked about earlier with a Chris Evans's character, how he did everything, and that was just kind of like one thing on top of the other. So like I was like, okay, it could have been simpler, but I guess that just made it like crazy, and I guess that's how it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
But um for so my review, I mean not my review, but my ranking is 4.5 out of
It's
5.
fair.
So
That's fair. Fair. Fair.
yeah.
So, guys, that is 2019's instant classic. I'm gonna go that far. Knives
Yeah.
Out. I think this movie's gonna stand the test of time, and I don't know. I think my
Yeah.
kids are gonna watch this movie with me. So
Yeah.
so guys, thank you so much for listening to the Minute. I did it again. Thank you guys. The Movie Minute Men podcast. Thank you guys so much. It means the world to me. Wesley, what are we doing next time? Next podcast. What's our next movie?
The next movie I think it's gonna be Iron Man 2, continuing on with the Marvel We Watch, the third movie in phase 1 of the
Yes.
MCU. So
Yes.
yeah, the I kind of like that movie actually. So
No,
yeah,
me too.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
we'll
yeah,
talk
it's
about that.
mid.
We'll
It's
get there. We'll get. Yep,
yeah.
that's an accurate description of it. Yes. Yeah, it's like 15 out of 30 or something like that. But fortunately, that one's not directed by Ryan Johnson. So Ryan, good golly, Miss Molly.
Ryan.
Okay. Yeah. So watch that for next week. If you want to email us, Marvel movie. Golly jeebers. The link is in the description. You can go follow us on Facebook. There will be a poll up there for not this next episode, but the following one. I think we didn't talk about that, but I think that's
whatever the choices will be.
Yes, the 3 movies that were up on the poll last time.
Yeah,
gone for right now. We won't put those up. They'll be 4 completely different new movies. Yeah. Okay. Until next time. I'm Andrew.
I'm Wesley.
And thank you guys so much for listening to the Movie Minute Men podcast. See you later.